Welcome back, comrades. This is Gaming with Austin. And today, we are on episode 48 of Season 2 of the Utopian Community series. Yep. That guy who eats a bloody hunk of raw meat, not only is he kind of racist, like, not only he is a speciesist, but also a racist too. He didn't just believe that white people are superior to other tribal affiliations, but also that humans are the most superior of all the animals. My favorite thing to order whenever it goes to eating Chinese food, like at a Chinese restaurant, I'd go for General Tso's tofu. Because I like to get my protein without killing animals. Because animals have the right to live. Like, you know, back in the 1950s and 60s, the economy of America was like that of Germany today. Of what Germany is today. One thing that's going to happen when World War III breaks out. Some people... What if we take greed out of human nature, that'd sort of be a good thing. One thing that's going to happen if I do become president, we're going to make it illegal for people to be eating animals alive. We're going to make it illegal, because it's animal abuse. I'm pretty compassionate with animals. A human capable of going vegan. Same thing with dogs, but cats, on the other hand, are a different story. If you let any animal that has an obligate carnivore out of its enclosure, they're gonna hunt. That is because they hunt to meet their physiological need, their nutritional needs. I believe that we should just let our cats go out and hunt. Because that's better for the ecosystem. It's better for the ecosystem that we let our cats go out and hunt. Like, when you go vegan, the smell of your breath will change. Your breath would literally smell like a garden. One thing we gotta do is, we gotta learn to accept one another. And communism doesn't necessarily go against human nature. What caused the Great Depression in America? It was one of the consequences of imposing laws banning the sale of booze. If I made homemade wine, if I had a liquor license, I'd let my wine ferment for about several months. Sometimes I'd even let it ferment for a couple of years. The reason it's kind of hard to enforce laws that are supposed to protect dogs from being stolen by thieves in Vietnam, that a lot of it has to do with the demand for dog meat. A lot of it has to do with the demand for dog meat over there. Like, will life be like in the fascist country? With the children, not only would they be severely deprived of sleep, they'd also be deprived of food as well. How will they deprive children of sleep? They'd be given a shit ton of homework. The teachers would not... It's not that the teachers want to give them homework, they'd be ordered to give them a lot of homework. And teachers who refuse to comply would be executed. Not only would they be fired from their jobs, they would also get executed for that too. Like, parents who don't discipline their child, they should lose their right to have kids. Because failing to discipline your child is considered child neglect. Basically, you're letting your child go into a life of terrorism. But, you know, discipline... The problem with discipline is it doesn't have an effect on terrorist attacks. Because a lot of times, terrorism often has a political, racial, or religious... tribal or religious motive. Some people believe that religion is the answer to all the crimes that are going on. It's not necessarily true. In fact, religion can cause the crime rate to backfire. We don't have to compete for resources, and if there's an abundance of them over the course of a long period of time, we don't have to compete for them. The reason the polar bears are going into Russia, they don't have a choice. Forced migration is essential for survival. If America has a very finite food supply, and is already in so much debt to where they cannot even afford to import other food, their food from other countries, we'd have... My critique on immigration reduction, a lot of it has to do with population. My critique... It's the same critique on why we need to stop having as many children. What happens if parents in Africa don't have a lot of kids? One of the consequences is that a lot of countries would end up collapsing very quickly. Because a high infant mortality rate is what's driving parents into having so many kids over there. They gotta ensure that some of them survive to adulthood. The reason why it's so hard to stop your cat from having a natural urge to hunt, that is because they are obligate carnivores, meaning they must hunt. Commercial cat food is what's making our cats sick. It is what's making our cats sick. Because they can't even digest it. The reason why it's so hard to motivate your children to follow rules, that is because when they're still developing, they have to be curious. So they could learn that they shouldn't do it again in adulthood. I believe it should be illegal for parents to leave those under 12 years old unsupervised. That is because of the rise of... especially in countries in which terrorism is a very big problem. Because we gotta protect our kids. Children should be protected by law. federal law, in which child murder should bring forth a federal sentence, not a state sentence. The reason I'm building a net right now this is so it'll be easier for me to place those glowstones in the areas that intersect. Intersecting blocks. Terrorism is one of... Eventually, well, what's going to cause a rise of terrorism? Climate change. As food scarcity will make it hard for countries to enforce laws, climate change corrupts our government as there wouldn't be enough food to feed everybody. Regardless of how strong the enforcement of the law is, people would have... Crime rates would go up not out of choice, but people would commit crimes out of necessity. They'd commit crimes out of necessity, not out of choice. Most criminals do it out of choice. If we want to reduce the crime rate, we gotta reduce poverty. My explanation to why society allows us to be lazy: what if there was a famine? There was and no one was sedentary. Everybody would die. Because being, lacking a sedentary, not being any sedentary to any extent can put your life at risk. Your body produces ghrelin when your blood sugar gets lower. If you have ghrelin deficiency and you're pregnant, you're fucked. Your body has to produce a lot more ghrelin during pregnancy to not only ensure that you survive, but also your baby would survive as well. A blood clot in the umbilical cord is bad for the baby. The baby will die not only from a lack of oxygen, but also a lack of nutrients as well. The reason why your brain has a high energy expenditure, this is because all the involuntary functions that keep you alive requires your brain. Like your heart beating. Breathing is another one. Digesting food requires energy too. My critique on why we need gun control. What we need to do is motivate people into going vegan. But we can't motivate our cats to stop hunting at all. And that is because cats are obligate carnivores. And obligate carnivores must eat meat to survive. They literally don't have a choice. What we can do to end world hunger is we could all go vegan. There are some obstacles we gotta face when it goes to trying to achieve true communism. One thing we need to do is stop using artificial pesticides. We need to stop using artificial pesticides. Because not only it's making us sick, but it's not very effective. We need to go back to using cats. Put our cats in the sewers, and things would be... As long as there's a flood... a barrier that prevents cats from falling into water. Like a screen... Let cats do the job. Just let our cats... If we use cats for pest control, our food supply would be more secure. Because constant pest and rat infestations in our cities can lead to famine. You know, it's not just us stealing food that will cause the price of food to go up. It's rats stealing our food too. Because humans and rats share the same food, have the same food source. But cats secure a food source by killing the rats. And cats like to bring home some gory gifts to their owners. Forcing your cat to be vegan is never a good idea. Your cats see almost anything that moves as a potential food source. That is because cats have to hunt. The truth is, they do not have a choice whether or not to hunt. One thing that's going to happen when World War III breaks out is that the costs... Not only the cost of living would increase to contribute to war efforts, theme park tickets would become more expensive as well. Like, the cost of housing would not... It's not just the cost of housing that'll increase. Literally, the cost of everything would increase too. How? Hyperinflation. The governments would have to... around the world... would have to start printing more money. You know, cats are more closely related to dogs than they are related to horses. And the carnivorans are more closely related to horses than they are to humans. One thing you can feed your cat raw meat. I know this sounds kind of disgusting, but they prefer raw meat over cooked meat. They'd rather eat raw meat than kibble. The only reason we should be killing animals is to feed our cats, and that's about it. That's the only legitimate reason for people to be killing animals, and that's about it. To be feeding our cats. Because cats, unlike humans, cats have a need for meat. But we don't have to kill humans or we don't have to kill animals for us to consume them. Because for us humans, there's no need for us to eat meat. If we were herbivores, we'd have more food available to all of us. Even though there'd be limited choices on food, ultimately there'd be more food available to all of us. One of the aspects of greed can be ethnic and tribal supremacism. Greed can ultimately lead to racism. And sometimes racism can motivate people to become more greedy, like in the case of Hitler. His hatred towards Jewish people is what and the non-Germanic people is what drove him into invading other countries. It was his incentive for the what motivated him to invade Poland? Racism. Racism can drive imperialism. Racism is one aspect of greed. If you're racist in any form, you're also greedy. Farm animals should be treated like our pets. Greed is not necessarily part of human nature. A lot of it is nurture. We learn it. Money's not the only. It's not the only motive for people to work. In my school of thought, my motive to work is to keep up with demand for products. Some of the luxury products that are on the market are actually the product of extreme suffering. I believe the reason why, back in the Stone Age, it was normal for us to be greedy. Being greedy was considered normal back in the Stone Age. Being greedy was pretty normal back in... It was normal for humans to be greedy, but now we need to stop being so greedy. Because it's no longer necessary. Because with the use it or lose it, eventually, writing down notes, we wouldn't be able to remember things from writing down notes. This is one of the products of evolution, with the use of technology, through the use of, like, over the course of several generations. One thing that's going to happen to the children in a fascist country is they're going to be severely sleep deprived. Like, school would start out at the ass crack of dawn, literally. Like, the first bell would ring at about 6 in the morning. No, at about 5 in the morning. With prey animals, they try to escape from predators, but predators, they have no choice but to fight back, because the prey animals are their only food source, especially for obligate carnivores. Anyways, this is it for this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you liked this video, dislike if you disliked it, subscribe for more. Share this with your comrades on social media. Follow me on Instagram. Subscribe to me on YouTube. If you loved this video, as always, thank you for watching, stay tuned for more, and peace out.